I try to motivate and to inspire, just so that we can bring up a generation of women that is not just beautiful on the outside, but they're beautiful on the inside as well.
Wow. I'm even confused. You inspire me.
No, you see, you're the one. I'm
talking about inspiration. You are a source of inspiration to many. Actually, I've worked in clubs. I meet ladies telling me, you know, you have a very good wife. And I go and say hi to her. Just the other day, I called you when I was at NTSA. There was a lady at NTSA who wanted just to talk to you. She said that you are her role model.
Wow.
What's happening? Because this is really nice, you know. It's really breathtaking. It's really something which is very nice. So, being a role model to many, what can you advise the young women, the mothers, and also the youth in this nation?
Okay. First of all, I'm very humbled. I'm always very humbled when anybody gives me all those wonderful compliments of how they look up to me. And I really do try to do my best to live up and exceed their expectations of who I am and what I can be. And what I can say is I endeavor every day to be a Proverbs 31 woman. And so I think that is what I can, that is the standard that I set for myself. And just in brief, a Proverbs 31 woman is a hardworking woman. She wakes up early in the morning. She feeds her family. She's a balanced woman. The Bible says that she considers a land and she buys it. It also says that she takes care of her family. She makes sure that when it's snowing, the family has clothes. It also talks about the husband, that the husband is well respected in the gates when he's sitting with the elders. And the Bible also says that she's clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs at the time to come. Her children stand up and call her blessed, and her husband praises her, her husband praises her and tells her that many have done well, but you have surpassed them all. And I try to live up to that every single day. And through the grace of God, He has been very faithful, and I am able to do that through His strength. And the Bible says that His strength is perfected in our weaknesses, and so where I fall short, He stands in for me. And that would be my advice to any women and to the generation of women that is coming up, is just to hold ourselves to higher standards and to endeavor to be the best women that we can be in all spheres of our lives, and to be balanced the way the Proverbs 31 woman is balanced.
Wow. What a woman. What a woman. I can clearly say that the Proverbs, you are a Proverbs 31 woman, and that I can attest. And it also says that type of a woman brings joy and makes the husband, brings joy to her house and makes the husband proud. On the other hand, a bad woman brings sorrows to the husband, and I must attest that I'm a happy man. And
thank you.
To add on that, you talk about God so much and issues, Christianity. What made you focus into this?
Okay. I think me and you can both attest to how God has been so faithful in our lives through thick and thin. I think when the Bible says that I will walk with you through the shadow of the valley of death, He has literally walked with us, and He, like me and you talk, and all the time we say, hey, Bana, that was God, and that was God, and that was God. And so my whole life consists of God in one way or another. And so that is why, who would I be were it not for God? Who would you be were it not for God? You know, from the slums of Nyalenda to where you are a walking miracle. And even just for me to be with you and for us to be together, I believe it's God that put us together. And so I see His blessings every day. I wake up, I look at my children, I see God. I look at you, I see God. I look at the blessings that we have, and I see God. And even when He doesn't bless us or He doesn't give us what it is we want, we still see God, because when he does something that we don't necessarily like, it's still Him. Everything is still working together for our good, which is why even with my business, I talk about God every single day, because who are we without Him? All of us are walking around, we are living, we are breathing, we are talking because of God. And so talking about him to me is like second nature, and I want everybody that I meet and interact with to know this God that has done exceedingly abundantly more than what I could have ever asked for or imagined. I want everybody to know that God. So that is why I talk about him so much.
Wow, what a woman. Now, this issue of you having met Babu Owino, agreed to marry him, why did you choose to marry this controversial man? Have you hear Babu Owino this, Babu Owino that, but you still don't give up on him?
Yeah.
Why?
You're a good man. I think that is what I would say sums it all. You have a heart of gold, and I was able to see that somehow. I don't know if it was through the Holy Spirit or through what, but just from the first day I met you, I could tell that you are a good person. You know, you used to tell me you're like a coconut. You're soft on the inside, and you are soft for me. You are soft for me on the inside, and I always saw your goodness. And also, there's also the fact of I was understanding of your background. You know, how many of us make it out of a slum? You're bound to pick up some things along the way that might shape a bit of who you are, though it might not change who you are at heart, but outwardly it may reflect other things that really are just a result of someone's upbringing, but not a reflection of their true nature. And so what people see a lot of maybe what you do or what you say, I feel and know that it is not a true reflection of who you are. You are an endlessly good person, and that is what I love most about you. And some people may see that every single day. Some see that, and you impact so many people's lives, and you do so much that even I don't know about, by the way. Sometimes I just meet people and they tell me, you know, your husband, you know, paid fee for my sister or what, or they did this for my mother, or he helped my mother with a hospital bill or what, and I'm like, wow, you surprise me every day. I look up to you, actually, and your goodness and your kindness and just who you are, the way you never give up. You're so courageous. You fall down, you pick yourself up. You fall down 7 times, you pick yourself up 8. I'm in awe of you, babe.
Wow.
I'm in awe.
In fact, the first day I met you, I knew that you are my wife.
No.
That was 12 years ago.
Almost 12. We're almost getting to 12 now. Yes.
In the next few days.
No, a few months. Few months, but yes, our anniversary is in a few days, actually.
In a few days' time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's proper. What do you want me to do for you on your anniversary?
Surprise me. You're very good at surprises, so surprise me. Let me see what you have up your sleeve.
Of course, I will surprise you.
Okay.
The surprise can also include doing nothing.
Oh, good.
Something will be done.
Okay.
Now, recently you joined a school, fashion school.
Yes.
Tell us something about fashion and the school that you joined. Why did you decide to join fashion school?
Okay. So what I've currently been doing with my business is I've been importing. I import from the UK and from the US. Now, the challenge with importing sometimes is a shipment can really delay. So like 2 months, 3 months, a shipment has delayed. Then with COVID, shipment becomes expensive. So you end up selling your items more expensive than you would prefer. Then there's the aspect of originality and uniqueness might be lacking because, you know, there could be 10 different businesses sourcing things where you source them. Granted, though, I must say that I have been able to provide my customers with very unique, edgy and fashion-forward styles, but still kuna kamoja tu kataponyoka. You know, China is very notorious for copy pasting, and so which is why I decided to start making items locally. I am launching a made in Kenya line, fully made in Kenya. Fabrics are Kenyan made, tailors are here, everything is here, and I feel like Kenya is so resourceful. We are so full of talent. You know, Kenya can be the fashion hub of Africa. F&M can be the biggest fashion business in Africa if with with God helping me to do that. And so being able to create employment, being able to come up with original designs for my clients and sell them cost effectively was very important to me. So that is why I started this Made in Kenya line, then joined school. I've recently started fashion and design school. Like I mentioned before, I did art. So I'm talented at drawing, but it's a talent that I've not used for some years. So I just want to sort of revive that creativity, just get the creative juices flowing and see what I can come up with. Everything I do, I like doing it to the best of my ability. So I want to just go into this fully informed. And you keep saying, you know, education, there's no end to education. So you actually encouraged me to, you know, go to school and just perfect what I'm doing. So which is why I've gone back to fashion and design school, just to perfect my skills so that I can give my clients the best of myself. Yeah.
Wow, 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 wow. When I look at you, your beauty makes me forget the questions that I'm supposed to ask you.
Oh, you did.
So, how do you juggle between being a wife, doing your business, and also being a first lady of Embakasi's constituency? I know it's quite some tedious job, but how do you juggle this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, both with Embakasi East, and I thank God for your platform, because with your platform I'm able to access a lot of women who have so many talents and so many skills, but they don't have a way of bringing that out. So we are able to do that, especially with table banking and that plan. And so I'm able to serve other people through your platform. On the flip side, with F&M, I'm able to do what it is that I'm passionate about, what I'm very good at, what I'm skilled at. So all of these things are a part of me. And like I said, when I spoke about the Proverbs 31 woman, remember I mentioned that she's a very balanced woman. She does her businesses, but she still takes very good care of her family. And because that is what I endeavor to do, I would say that it's just the grace of God, to be honest. You have to wake up early, you have to sleep a little bit late to be able to juggle both sides, because my most important thing in my life is you and my children and our family, and just to make sure that that's good. So that's how I prioritize. So it's God first, then you, our kids and our family setup. Then now between now the duties that I need to have for Embakasi East, so I set a day for that. I set a day for my businesses and to pursue my passions. So it's prioritizing and sacrificing, but most of all, it's all through the grace of God.
Wow. What is the vision of F&M brand?
Simply put, I would say to be the fashion hub for Africa. I want us as Kenyans to be exporting to the world and not importing from the world. I want us to be the ones exporting to Europe and to America and not importing from these countries. And I believe that we are able to do that. We are so talented and so skilled. There's so much that this country has to offer, and I would pray to God to use me to be able to just to do that and to put Kenya in the map of the world as a fashion district, as a fashion hub. That would be my...
What's your social media handle?
For my business, it's letter F, letter N, letter M, brand. Yes, so kindly follow. Yes, that is for Instagram.
Instagram is?
That is for Instagram, F&M brand.
FN?
F&M brand. So F for fish, N for nest, M for mom. Okay. Brand. Yes.
Good. So thank you very much, Kenyans. That is a short interview that I had with Frida Ongili today, and very soon Frida is launching something about F&M brand, and I hope Kenyans...
We also recognize that we are assembled here on the occasion of the 6th memorial lecture of Slabbert Steve Mbiza. And let me recognize Your Majesty, the good doctor, my very good friends who have had occasion to speak before me, and those who are present in this assembly to listen to us. In your absence, our speeches would mean little, if not nothing. Let me say how glad I am to be present here to talk about a subject that is as topical as it is evergreen. The topic of decolonization of African culture to include Africa's religion and Africa's economy. I remember so very distinctly several years ago when a young African stood up on the 6th day of March in 1957 on the occasion when his country regained independence, a country then known as Gold Coast, which was then renamed Ghana. And he said on that day that the independence of Ghana meant nothing if Africa was not free. The question that we ask is whether Africa is indeed free beyond the flags that we made for ourselves. 1 year later, that young man stood up again in Accra, Ghana, in the presence of the freedom fighters of the African countries which were still under the colonial yoke, and reminded his audience that Africans had to free themselves. 2 years later in Casablanca, Morocco, that young man stood again and reminded his audience of the significance of freedom. 3 years later, on the 24th day of May in 1963, that young man stood again in the presence of 32 heads of states and governments of African countries that had regained their independence. On that day, he reminded his audience that their independence newly acquired would mean nothing if they were not united, that their independence would mean nothing if they did not decolonize their minds, that their independence would mean nothing if they did not act with a sense of urgency to liberate Africa. He reminded his audience on that day that while in 1958 he had said, "Seek ye first the political kingdom and the rest will be given unto you," there was a sense of urgency in regaining our independence in all its dimensions. His audience listened to him not. And as I speak to you today, our continent is not at ease. Our continent is not at ease spiritually. Our continent is not at ease economically. Our continent is not at ease in our health. Our continent is not at ease in our education. We live in a continent which has great prospects, but is now in monumental difficulties. And that is why it is legitimate to engage in an inquiry such as this. We have been victimized many times, and those who spoke before me had the occasion to narrate to you how we were enslaved and commodified by the Arabs. The Arab colonization project was a project not only of Islamization, but also a project of Arabization. And when the Arabs were done with us, the European tribes came. If it was not the Portuguese, it was the Dutch. If it was not the Dutch, it was the Italians. If it was not the Italians, it was the French. If it was not the French, it was the Germans. If it was not the Germans, it was the English. We were victimized. That is our history. And when slavery had lost its luster, some from within their ranks pretended that they were abolishing slavery. They introduced yet another thing, the thing called colonization. They came into our continent and claimed that they had discovered us. They came, and while we were here, they discovered the Cape of Good Hope. They discovered us, they claimed. While we were here, they came and pretended to discover all lakes and all rivers. That is how they came. While we were here, they came and pretended that we had no history. But let us assess history, if only to demonstrate to ourselves that the African continent is the cradle of human civilization. You know, when Europeans were still living in caves, the Dogon in Mali had already recognized the stars. When the Europeans were still eating raw meat, the Africans had discovered fire. The Africans were the pioneers. And even if you look at all religions and their creation, and I'm a keen reader of the Bible, and the Bible records, and the God said, let us create man in our own image, and that he took soil and formed man out of it. The last time I checked, soil was brown or black, not white. And I can confirm that I checked this morning. The soil is still black, the soil is still brown, and if therefore anybody is created in the image of God, it is we who are of the black race. Islam also says the same thing. And you know, Africa has been abused. When you look at the maps that are drawn by European cartographers, Africa is smaller than the United States of America, and yet it is larger, almost as large as Asia. They minimize us at all times. Even the thing they call the Middle East, what is middle about it? How can it be that Israel is not part of Africa, but Madagascar is a part of Africa? When we assembled here to talk about decolonization of the mind, we must remind ourselves of our history. The pyramids were made here in Africa. It still defies architecture and engineering. It's the Africans who made them. The walls of Benin, which are 4 times longer than the Chinese Great Wall, were here in Africa. The temples of Lalibela, which were dug out in Ethiopia out of the soil, were made here in Africa. The great walls of Monomotapa in Zimbabwe were made here in Africa. And when you go to the warriors of the world, the Monis or the Amazons of Dahomey were found in present-day Benin. King Zinga of the Mbanda, of the Batamba, was here in Angola. Africa is the cradle of human civilization. You know, as a young man, I read Ghana's Jody Graft's play, Muntu, in which he says in part, some things we know and some things we do not know. But this one we know, that Odoman Koma created the world, and that Odoman Koma is God, and that God is neither Christian nor Muslim nor all these things, because God is a spirit.
And if he is a spirit, he cannot be all those things. Your own Desmond Mpilo Tutu writes in a book, God is not a Christian. And he is not. Even for those of us who are of the Christian faith, Christ was not a Christian. Christianity is a post-Christ religion. And you can see that God has been appropriated by civilization, and over the years they have been whitening God. When God was in the Middle East, even Christ was in the Middle East, he was not as white as he is now presented to us. They took Christ to the Greeks. They made him white, and they made him speak Greek. When they were tired with him, they took him to Rome, and they made him speak Latin. And when they had tired with it, they created a religion that they called the Roman Catholic Church. God was not a Catholic and is not a Catholic. When they were tired with him, they took him to England to allow King Henry VIII to marry, and they named the Church of England, and made the Queen and the monarch the head of that church. God is not an Anglican. And when they were tired, they took him to Scotland, and they made him a Presbyterian. And when they were tired, they made God a Methodist. And when they were tired, they took him to Germany, and they made him a Lutheran. And when they were tired, they went to the United States, and they made him an Episcopalian. God is not all those things. The God that I worship is worshipped in truth and in spirit. And let me tell you, throughout the ages, ask yourself a few fundamental questions. Despite the fact that they have done everything to erase Africans from the face of this earth, even in their own history, they acknowledge that all their great men came to Africa. Why? And what did they come to do to Africa? Socrates was in Africa. And when he came to Africa, he met Orunmila of the Yoruba tribe, who was a greater philosopher than him. Pythagoras was in Africa. What did they come to do to Africa? You pay homage where knowledge resides. Moses was in Africa and was born in Africa. What did he come to do in Africa? You pay homage where knowledge is. Muhammad was in Africa. Why do you come to Africa? You pay homage where knowledge is. Christ or Yeshua was in Africa. Why did he come to Africa? You pay homage where knowledge is. The Lord Krishna of the Hindus was in Africa. Why did he come to Africa? He came to pay homage where knowledge is. This is the cradle of human civilization. But we have been so beaten over the years. We have been so abused over the years. They enslaved us because they feared us. They colonized us because they feared us. They now have a new project, the neo-colonial project. And I'm told that the neo-colonial project is a twin of another child called colonization. Their mother is imperialism. And imperialism never changes its character. It only changes the masks that it wears. We must be wary of it. It is said, when they came here and abused Christianity, they told us to close our eyes in prayer. And when we opened our eyes, the land had disappeared. That is who they are. They are not our friends. I can still hear through the vicissitudes of time your own Robert Mangaliso Sobukwe saying, there is only one race in the world, the human race. But the whites have forgotten that. The Arabs have forgotten that. The Chinese have forgotten that. It is only we Africans who know that there is only one race, the human race. It is our duty to remind them that that is indeed the divine instruction. Because the God that I worship cannot be bottled in little religions. The God that I worship cannot be contained in little books. The God that I worship is immanent and omnipresent. He is resident in our minds and in our hearts and in our very veins. It is only we Africans who know him in truth. And in order to appreciate him, we must understand him differently. We must understand him in spirit. You know, when I look at the world, and I look at it often, and when I look at Africa and I look at her often, when I think of Africa and I think of her often, and when I imagine her and I imagine about her often, I say with the famous Sudanese poet Alpha Ituri, "O Africa, why hast thou not realized thy potential?" And the reason is simple. They came here and did something to our mind and to our spirituality. Many men have tried to understand what they did to us. I'll not refer to all of them, but I'll refer to a dramatization which some of you will be familiar with. The African-American Alex Haley produced a film called Roots. And in Roots, he dramatizes the life of a young man uprooted from Jufure village in what is now known as the Gambia, Kunta Kinte. And they take Kunta Kinte to the United States of America. And when they take Kunta Kinte to the United States of America, the first thing that they do to him is to beat him up, that he may change his name, so that Kunta Kinte is beaten out of him, and they introduce a new being called Toby. That is what they do to us. They beat our Africanness out of us. And when we are all empty, they fill us with something that is alien. And then we begin to think like them. We begin to think that our hair is not good enough, so that our women must buy wigs from dead women in Asia, so that our women must reject their skin, they bleach it, that they may become whiter, so that our women can remove their eyebrows and eyelashes, so that our women can paint their lips red. They do that to us, so that our women can stop eating, that they may become slender. They do that to us. And they do that to us because they know that our women are the fountain of life. And that when they change our women, we men who are weak will be changed. We must stop that. We are created in God's image. You know, John Garang de Mabior in Sudan once asked the Arabs, "Why do you want to Arabize us? Why do you want to Islamize us? This God who created us, Nuer, Dinka, Zulu, Kosa, Herero, Nama, Ovambo, Ovimbundu, Igbo, Luo, Agekoyo, Dogon, Wolof, Yoruba, Fulani, Fulfude, was he stupid? If he is all wise, is he not a God of diversity who wants to be celebrated in different and diverse ways? we must not accept. We must, in the nature of things, change ourselves. You know, just this morning, I was reading the latest work of a great African, Achille Mbembe, From the Dark Night, Essays in Decolonization. And he says that the only place that we must start decolonizing is the mind, because the mind is the standard of the man. I was thinking about the writings of my own countryman, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, decolonizing the mind. All battles are fought in the mind. René Descartes was right because knowledge is universal. Cogito ergo sum, I think, so I am. So we must think. Because once our minds are changed, then our spirituality is energized. And once our spirituality is energized, then we exercise the ghost of low self-esteem. And once we exercise the ghost of low self-esteem, then we begin to discover our potential. Then our economies begin to grow. Then we mine our gold and improve them. You know, how can it be that Africa is the richest continent on the earth and our gold is mined by De Beers? How can it be that Africa is the richest continent on the world and our diamond is produced in South Africa, in Botswana, and Namibia, and in Sierra Leone, and in Liberia, but the price is determined in Antwerp, in Belgium? How can it be? How can it be that Africa produces cocoa in Togo, in Cote d'Ivoire, and in Ghana, and chocolate is then made in Switzerland and in Belgium, who have not even a bush of cocoa? How can it be that tea is produced in Ethiopia and in Uganda and in Kenya, and when it is taken to the United Kingdom, they now call it English tea? How can it be? How can it be? How can it be? How can it be that coltan is mined in the Democratic Republic of Congo, but not a single African country makes a mobile phone? How can it be? How can it be? It can only be because we have allowed our minds to be captured. It can only be because we have allowed ourselves to be spiritually confused. It can only be because we have allowed ourselves to be slaves of others. And the God that we worship, knowing that we are confused, has turned his head on the other side, so that when we pray and fast, he does not listen. Or if he listens, he does not care. He's waiting for us to realize ourselves so that we can worship in truth. And you know, this is intergenerational. The pains that are being visited upon this generation are out of the sins that were committed by the other generation. It is a time to repent, so that we who have transgressed may say that we have repented, because the future now does not lie in us. The future lies in the young ones. Chinua Achebe was right. These are the young suckers that will grow when the old banana dies. These are the very same upon whose shoulder Africa shall rise. Your duty and my duty is to plant the tree in the knowledge that one generation plants a tree, another generation waters the tree, another generation prunes the tree, another generation enjoys its shade. That is our duty. So this morning, we are not here to say new things. We are only here to remind ourselves that in the beginning there was God, and that God created man, and that man, I suspect, was an African. and that man could not have been anything else but an African. Why I suspect so? Because all creation says that man came from the earth. And as I said, the earth is either black or brown. So in the beginning there was an African. And in the beginning there was a spirit into which that mold was made alive, and that spirit was God. And I suspect that God gave us intelligence. And I suspect that God created Africa where it is in the very middle, because the very middle, the very center is the fulcrum, and that is why I suspect Africa is where it is, enjoying not too much cold, enjoying not too much sun. It is in the middle. It is indeed life measures as it should be measured. And that is why I suspect in his divine wisdom, he put all the minerals in Africa. If it is not gold, it is coltan. If it is not coltan, it is iron ore. If it is not iron ore, it is copper. And he does not stop there. When he was distributing rivers and lakes, he ensured that Africa had the best of lakes, the best of rivers, and he did not stop there. He ensured that we are surrounded with the best of oceans. If it is not the Atlantic, it is the Indian, which should be called the African. I do not know why they call it the Indian Ocean, but that is their conspiracy. Then there is the Mediterranean. They also call it another name, and he did not stop there. Once he had done that, it ensured that this is a continent that has men and women who are so forgiving, so generous. This is the only continent that has welcomed all civilizations. We started with the Arabs. They abused us. Then came the Portuguese. We welcomed them. They abused us. Then the Dutch came. We welcomed them. They abused us. Then the Italians came. We welcomed them. They abused us. Then the Germans came. We welcomed them. They abused us. Then the French came. We welcomed them. They abused us. Then the English came, we welcomed them and they abused us. Then the Indians came, we welcomed them and they abused us. Then the Lebanese came, we welcomed them, they abused us. Now the Chinese are coming, we are welcoming them and they are abusing us. We must stop this. And we can only stop this through self-realization. And that is why when I conclude, I must conclude by making reference to a great African, Ante Cheikh Diop of Senegal, who writing in his book, The African Origin of Humankind, Myth or Reality, says, this is a problem that can only be solved through aggression. And I'm telling us, this is the time now for Africa to rise. Africa will be great. Africa must be great, and it will only be great if we choose to spiritually decolonize our minds, our hearts, and culture, because it is only then that Africa will be a great continent. God bless you.
Nchi ya ng'ara, Kenya ya meta, nchi kavu baharini. Kenya ya meta, watoto wake. Kenya ya meta, tunavuna jasho lake.
Mwangaza wa mulika, nchi ya songa mbele, pamoja tunaweza, pamoja tunaijenga.
Kenya ya meta, mtindo wetu, utamaduni, twajivunia kuishi pamoja. Kenya ya meta, baraka kwetu, kwa imani twasimama wote imara.
Mwangaza waelekeza njia ya kufuata, na nia zetu zote ni kuijenga Kenya.
kampuni ya Kenya Power.
Kenya.
Mwangaza wa Kenya.
Cold open. Feeling the hunger pangs? Think Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal, the ultimate solution for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. A versatile staple that adds a hearty touch to any meal. Imagine waking up to the smell of freshly made Mambo Tattoo porridge, the perfect kickstart to your day. Or picture a warm bowl of Mambo Tattoo Ugali, the ideal companion to your favorite stew or vegetables. And it's not just about taste. Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal is packed with essential nutrients, a powerhouse of energy, ready to fuel your day. Whether you're a sports enthusiast gearing up for an intense workout, or simply someone who appreciates good food, Mambo Tattoo is your go-to choice. Remember, good transform your meals, enrich your life, taste the difference with Mambo Tattoo. Cold open. Feeling the hunger pangs? Think Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal, the ultimate solution for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. A versatile staple that adds a hearty touch to any meal. Imagine waking up to the smell of freshly made Mambo Tattoo porridge, the perfect kickstart to your day. Or picture a warm bowl of Mambo Tattoo Ugali, the ideal companion to your favorite stew or vegetables. And it's not just about taste. Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal is packed with essential nutrients, a powerhouse of energy, ready to fuel your day. Whether you're a sports enthusiast gearing up for an intense workout, or simply someone who appreciates good food, Mambo Tattoo is your go-to choice. Remember, good transform your meals, enrich your life, taste the difference with Mambo Tattoo. Cold open. Cold open. Feeling the hunger pangs? Think Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal, the ultimate solution for your breakfast, lunch, or dinner. A versatile staple that adds a hearty touch to any meal. Imagine waking up to the smell of freshly made Mambo Tattoo porridge, the perfect kickstart to your day. Or picture a warm bowl of Mambo Tattoo Ugali, the ideal companion to your favorite stew or vegetables. And it's not just about taste. Mambo Tattoo Maize Meal is packed with essential nutrients, a powerhouse of energy, ready to fuel your day. Whether you're a sports enthusiast gearing up for an intense workout, or simply someone who appreciates good food, Mambo Tattoo is your go-to choice. Remember, good transform your meals, enrich your life, taste the difference with Mambo Tattoo.
What's up, guys? Welcome again to one of the only SFO podcast. I'll be your host, Emmanuel Baro Choi, aka Mr. Chairman with Mark.
Amos Nyamako, aka Wakili.
Sana ninapenda kumuita Mr. Okamoyo. Niaje bro? Kwa wazee nimefurahi sana. Kwanza nisalimie bana, nimefurahi and I'm really happy to be with you here. You know, we people have been asking, who is this Enso Monso? And by the way, before we go to that topic, about to answer, who is Okamoyo? Now, who is you?
Me. Okay. Kwa undani ama maybe
tell people something good
about me.
Yes.
Okay. Okamoyo, maybe Wakili ndio inataka kuja sio Okamoyo. Wakili.
Yeah, Wakili. Who is Wakili? Just a brief, then we come to today's topics.
Wakili is just a normal hustler. Ukarabati ya siasa ndio inanisukuma huko 2-3 ndio nasukumana nayo from there. Pia I'm running some 2-3 biashara 2-3 huko.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay, thank you guys. You've heard who is Wakili Amos Kimori. He's a very good business guy and he's a very good guy, you know.
Kwa siasa
and a very good political analyst.
Kwa strategy.
And strategy.
Inakuanga sana.
Yes, so, but let me take you as my guest. Now let me be the host, you be the guest.
Okay.
Even if you are the host of the SWO podcast, not for today, you will be the guest. I be the host. Now, I'm taking you as a political analyst. Now, because we are launching today the SWO podcast, I want us to talk. I want us to discuss who is this SWO, who is this Maureen Morao Bino, because this aspirant has been going. Amekuwa kitrend, you know, she has been giving vibes after vibes. She has been giving a very tough campaign strategy for these few months. So, according to you, who is Maureen Morao Bino?
Maureen.
Yes.
But then Maureen Morao Bino, I can define her as a leader, not a politician.
Okay.
Because you know we have a difference between a leader and a politician. Yes.
Sure.
So concerning Maureen, I can tell you she's a politician. Because currently we have been seeing various activities she has been sponsoring, she has been carrying, and she has, for the past years, not this year alone, for the past almost, from 20 to, I knew Maureen Obinno the year 2020. Yes, there's a time during there's a time, I am from Bonchari constituency.
Okay.
This time, the current president, William Samoei Ruto, had a visit to the wife to the widow. I can call the widow.
Okay, yani
the wife to the late
so
MP.
hapo ndio mlijuana na Maureen Obinno.
Not tulijuana, hapo ndo nilimjulia. Mimi nilimjua, but yeah, maybe hakunijua. Mimi nilimjua through that arena. Yeah, there's time nani alikujanga hapo the current president, alikuja hapo kwa the wife to the late MP Oro Iyoka.
So hapo ndio ukajua Obinno.
Kuna mtu Maureen Obinno. Yes.
So from there mkaanza kufanya kazi, you started blogging about?
Yes, from there I've been blogging for her since 2021.
Oh wow.
The time, during that time alikuwa na vie for the women representative seat. You know 2022 alikuwa kwa ballot. But bad luck the victory was delayed. Yeah, to examine maybe.
Yeah, he said victory was delayed.
Yes. So can't lose.
So Mr. Amos Kimori, you said you mulijuana na Maureen Obinno since okay, you knew Maureen Obinno since the year 2021. And then which year did you officially engage with her?
So engaging with her, it was the year, so nimekwambia the year 2020 nilimjua senior. And the year 2021 I've been blogging for her online mbili tatu. So here as from January there, siasa ilianza kuchacha. Unajua siasa ya last year, mtu alikuwa karibu na president, alikuwa anaanza siasa mapema. Nilianza kumjua, nilianza kumpushia kazi kwa the year 2021. So by February there, we started sharing some ideas.
Oh wow.
Yes.
So by the way, okay, according to me I can take okay, how can I profile Maureen Obinno? Whether she's a mother, for example, I take her as a mother. She has some motherly figure, and she has and I love it the way you said she's not a politician, because you know sometimes politicians, they have that aroma of being cheeky, mischievous, being pretty in a way, petty in a way, no, not pretty, petty in a way, sorry, and they have this sense of I can say this so to Obinno, you know, she gives that motherly figure, and she has that leadership qualities in her, and then I can attest a fact when I knew Maureen Obinno, our vying and aspiring woman rep, I had an event in Maseno. And then that event I was the only organizer, I was the only sponsor, and I was the only everything, and I was the only marketer. So because I lacked a lot of funds to sponsor that event, but because this event, the budget was almost to run that event. My budget was almost 50,000. Nikakaa chini nikasema God, you know, imagine that time wewe ni comrade, hata mjakula
kazi imeisha, landlord anakudai,
landlord ndio yuko kwa mlango yo jana
kesho unataka kufika Maseno.
Yes, ni wewe, alafu pia girlfriend yao wanataka pole so after that nikakuwa na stress by that. I had a lot of stress. Nikauliza, hey God, nitafanya aje? Nikaingia online tu hivi, nikasema sasa hapa God lead me to a destiny helper. Nikakaa hivi nikaona bedha, and that hiyo ndio siku tunajuana na wewe. Unablogia huyu aspirant anaitwa Maureen Obinno. Okay, backward nimekuwa tu nikimuona, you know, the way you've been blogging for her. Nikasema hii team inakaje organized hivi. I want to join this team, but I never knew how to join her team. Because first thing, nikajaribu kumtext and you know, she's a very busy, Okay, after knowing her, I came to realize she's as busy as Abi, because she does a lot of things, and you know that. Nikamtext, nikakula blue, nikakula. It was a blue kama ama grade ya kwanza.
It could be a grade.
Agree, yeah, sure, agree. Because I used to blow. Now I wish can never blow TQ. And nikakula grade. Because maybe because I was introducing myself, and I was new. That was new to politics, and I was new to her. So you cannot rush into someone responding, Jajua ametoka wapi, because that is politics. So after hapo, the next day, kapita, the third, the fourth, after 1 week, she gets back to me. Hey, how are you? Hello, Tata.
Tata, I do trust you.
I do trust you. I keep you. And the best thing about her is Anazanga. Hello, Tata. I trust you are keeping well today. Wow. Sasa hapo nikapata opportunity nikasema I've got talent in designing. I made like 5 posters nikamtumia. Na ikachukua tena wiki. Hapo sasa akani text back and anambia, "Oh wow, I love these designs. No, can you make me these and these and these?" Nakwambia hiyo siku nilikuwa sijui ni wapi. I ran to my computer. Mbio. Poster mauano. Nikamtumia. So okay. To cut the long story short, after that, tukaanza kuongea pole. I get to know her better. Nikona she has a lot of strategies. She listens, by the way, unlike other leaders. Unajua tu, not other leaders, other politicians. A problem to watu kusinya hivyo. Abara wange abarike manyimbo huo foro. Yani they want to prove that they know too much than even the people themselves.
Politicians.
Yeah. So by the way, okay. So to me, I can take her as a motherly figure, and by the way, we wish her well. Ndio, tunamtakia mama mema ashinde.
Nimekuwa nikisikia ukunyata wakimuita Esimbe Nkungu.
Ndio anamuita
Esimbe Nkungu.
Esimbe Nkungu.
I remember naenda kupita hivi nasikia tu wanaita Esimbe Nkungu. So hata kwa radio yako nasikia tu wanaita Esimbe Nkungu.
So me I can say she is a lioness here, sure, because she has that vigor, and she has that passion and that urge of fighting, and that she has a heart of resilience, and that passion, the anger to succeed. Because I'm working here, by the way, like, my son, I want us to win, because we have nothing more than winning. Because 2027 just like next year too. Mwezi wa 8.
Almost remaining with 17 months.
17 months. Ndio. Hii kitu ashinde. Unajua akishinda atafurahi sana. Kwanza yeye sherehe acha soko. Uso aligido.
Ndani ya vieka. Hapa kusimo zikatoa kesi ile.
By the way, mimi I'm talking from the Mwanara leo yule diploza sekile sana.
Ona wasikia kwa kote baigo. Ona metera hapa ki interview ali maybe. Pare pate no bangwa kesi. Ona in general hapa kusia tora okay.
So but okay. Let me face this camera and tell them that okay, before I say ndio tuingie sana now to today's trendings, what can you tell the Omo who is watching us about Mora Obino? How can you urge them to vote for Mama? Camera ndio.
Okay. Wakisi wenzetu from every part you are watching us from, Mora Obino, kama kwa wengi wale ambao tunamfuatilia na wenye tuko ground ama kwa kwanza kila mkisi kwa sasa tumeweza kuona amekuwa akihold various activities in our constituencies. You have been seeing her team representing her in various funerals. Tumekuwa pia tukiona yeye mwenyewe akiengage na some wakisi wenzetu, amekuwa kwa ground. Si mtu mgeni, maybe kuna tumekuwa tukisikia maybe some aspirants huko Kisii wana maybe from Nairobi na wako huko kwa ground, but kwa party ya Maureen amekuwa kwa ground consistently. Because hata last week alikuwa kwa mazishi, he was in more than 6 burials, ambapo not only to kupeana condolences pia ku offer something small.
Yeah.
Pia kuna event nilisikia tulionanga ya Sing for Peace.
Sing for Peace ya show
ambaye alisponsor. Yeye mwenyewe unajua
ngoja kwanza. Unajua there's something what trainings by the way, and I want to, we have a lot of trainings today, and sasa tutataka kuwachangamsha. We had to start with the mama. Unajua sometimes yani umonge no muya botwachete uya oburaibu eno uya morama bana isaine mama county kogamba no isaine. Nice one. I love that. It mama mongaine maite korai obwate chiaidi
we can't go.
Yeah, we can't. But Maureen, she will be the next woman at Kisii County. So, my brother, Amos, Wakili. Let me just call you Wakili. Today's trendings. Topic number 1. Kibagendi's arrest. Nilikuwa nimekaa tu. Sasa nikwambia ndugu yangu. Nilikuwa nimekaa tu nimetulia. Nina scroll Facebook mtandao kidogo na kutana breaking news free Kibagendi. Ajua na madenje let me tell you pianti yo kwa nimsoge yakwa neki kusigona madenje badani kimekinya saa Kibagendi. I know him as that guy or an ancestral guy because anti toko pinga serikali sana na niko da bantu baza ba upigana une ndigacha utakwanja umurai tonyora magendero that does it mean Kibagendi tali ukaramba magendero ko ni constituency ya
baita Kibagendi no mondo opposition batingo sumare gas
kuja ku comment ya niko nyawoteba na eti hakia ya ancho morai kwani is it a must you befriend the president in your atume pesa constituency ama
na side rocha dio kwa kana kera goika goika state osho sabega ama gende
osore yoro ore make chief ipu okay ngali south mugrango by the lakini enje epare linero nanya konyora paka nowadays. By the way, honestly speaking, I think I'm not interested in constitutional constituency politics, but I'm speaking the truth. Magendra ro ali chege donare